I dry my eyes cause I don't feel like crying. Ooh.
Is this the mascara
At
song?
least tonight, no, I don't feel like crying. It hasn't hit me yet. And I know if I go home, I'm going to be upset. Huh. It hasn't hit me yet. And I know if I go home, I'm going to be upset. No, this is not last night's mascara by Griff. This is Don't Feel Like Crying by Secret. I can play that one for you.
Sure.
Next time. But
I love a good song. A good Brandon song.
do you really?
I tolerate it. No.
I'm not tolerant.
I'm entertained by it. It's not like, oh my gosh, shut up. It's like, oh, that's a bop. A little doot-to-doo.
I love that.
Doot-doot-doot-doot.
Maggie, that's so kind. Hey y'all, welcome back to the Shave It All. I'm Brandon.
I'm Magdala.
And we are here today on this Friday night, gathering to discuss the Traitors. Messy ass Traitors.
Bro.
Season 3, episode 5.
This episode was crazy.
It was horrible gameplay.
Yeah, on all parts.
Horrible strategy.
And you know what? It was about damn time because, I really feel like the Traitors were a little too good these past 2 seasons.
So they needed bad ones.
Last season, they were like moderately good, but this season, they're like trash.
They're really bad.
So it makes it more entertaining.
It does make it more entertaining for sure. It can be frustrating, but honestly, it keeps you on your toes.
It really does.
And I think that's all we really need. And in this game of Traitors with like random celebrities, I think that's what we want more than anything. Because when people take it too seriously, I'm like, shut up. Like, honestly, Derek in his confessionals, I'm like, can you please get a grip?
Yeah, that's how you feel.
A little bit. I'm like, okay, Derek. He's like, I do think this and just like that. And then when I think this, I think that. And I'm like, can you just not think? Why are you here? Anyways, but regardless, is there anything you wanted to touch on before we jump in the episode?
I did get scammed this week, but let's talk about it after.
Not scammed.
I really feel like I got scammed. So stay
Lord.
tuned if you want to hear how I got scammed this week.
You gotta listen to the episode or skip to the chapter.
Or skip to the chapter.
But don't listen to everything. Okay.
But don't listen to everything.
Yes, listen to it all. Give us a stream.
Let's get into it.
Let's do it. Okay, episode 5. The Traitors episode 4 ended with the Traitors in the turret. And it was right after Boston Rob has turned on Bob the drag queen. He basically led his banishment. And now Carolyn and Danielle,
they're pissed.
They are.
They're very upset.
They do. And Boston Rob, he tries to plead his case. He's like, look, I will not come for any of you unless you come for me. And I came for Bob because he said that thing where it's like one of the 3 new guys is a traitor. And he basically signed my death certificate.
I guess. First off, so like, it's funny because they start and Danielle and Carolyn just look at him. And no facial expression, just stone face. They just look at him. And he's like, that was crazy, right? And they're just like, don't play with us.
Don't do this.
And he's like, okay, guys, I promise I'll never come for you. And they're like, yeah, sure. Anyway. And Danielle's like, can we at least talk about it first before you do it? Damn.
Right. She's like, at least like let us in on things. So like, but Danielle, while she's kind of pleading to him and just like, I'm not against you. We're not pleading to him, but just trying to be like, you know what, like we're good. She's telling us, I'm just trying to make it seem like I'm on his side so that when I come for him, he doesn't see it coming. And that's her main thing throughout this episode. It's like moving silently for someone who speaks more than anyone and is doing the opposite of playing silently. But Carolyn's annoyed because she's like, Bob didn't directly call out Rob, and she thinks it's just an ego thing.
Yeah.
And
that's valid because it's true. It wasn't a direct call out. And as we saw, nobody was worried about Rob.
No.
They named 3 people. Wes, Derek, and you. But you took it as a direct threat, and everybody was worried about Nikki and Sierra, and they're still worried about Nikki and Sierra. Like,
they are, for some reason.
Rob, did he really come for you? And Rob can tell that they're not happy with him, but he just felt like his hand was forced. So he's like, all right, well, who are we gonna murder?
Right. He's like, anyways, now on to the actual task. And Carolyn and Danielle want to murder Sam because he's random and would cause confusion. Where Boston Rob says, no, we need to go for, like, Sam's not a threat.
Yeah.
Which is a little ironic considering what kind of happens at the very end, or like a comment Sam makes at Roundtable, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But he wants to take out Robin because she has like no like sus on her. Like no one thinks she's a traitor.
Yeah, he's like, Sam isn't smart. He's not really anybody it'd be a waste to kill him. But they're like, why not Robin? And Carolyn's like, no, I don't want it to be Robin. And Rob's like, it would cause so much chaos. And they're like, what about Gabby? And he's like, no, the Bambis aren't a threat, they're fine. And I'm like, wow, Rob, for somebody who knows that these two people really aren't feeling you, you're being very like uncooperative, unmovable. Like, that's a great way to gain their trust back. Like, give them a fucking vote. Just give them the vote. It's not that deep.
At least let them, because really,
let them have it.
Right. Like, Sam doesn't affect your game really in that way. So it's just like, at least throw them a bone. But now you're just proving their point that you're hard to work with.
So hard to work with. And they're just like, all right, Rob, so who do you want to take out? They're just appeasing him at this point.
Yeah, and so they agree on someone, and we're unclear at this point yet, but it's either Robin, Gabby, or Sam. I'm like, it better not be Gabby or Robin. Like, get rid of Sam, please.
Yeah.
But,
and in their confessional, Carolyn is like, he doesn't even listen. And Danielle's like, oh, he needs to watch his back because I'm coming for him. So I'm like, damn, Rob. For somebody who tends to be good at these games, you're really bad at this one. Like, you got a bunch of blood on your hands, and then the two people who you want on your side, you didn't even try to get them back on your side. You're just like, no, what you want is stupid. This is what I want. Even they're both vocalizing that they don't want it. You're like, but I want it.
Yeah, he's just like, I'm still going to push for what I want to push for. And this is where Danielle has her comment where she's like, when you take out a mafia guy, you got to do it when he doesn't see it coming.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, Danielle.
Anyway, Danielle,
we
have words for you too, sis.
Don't worry.
But isn't it? Yeah, I just think his behavior is very interesting and annoying.
Yes.
But then I also wonder, because I feel like I kind of fell into something like this week. You say it once, they push back, so you stop pushing back. Was saying it once enough? Maybe in his head, he's like, I didn't push that hard. They just kind of,
Maybe.
But it's like, but they still said something.
Yeah.
And a man would steamroll over two women after they say something once.
This is true.
You know what I mean?
Carolyn pushed back more than we'd ever seen her really push back, I thought. So
What'd she say?
just like when it was like she seemed very much like, no, not Robin. That doesn't make any sense. I don't see it.
Oh, no, she did. Yeah.
I mean, could she have pushed back more? Maybe. But for Carolyn, it was more than usual. It was a decent amount of
pushback. Because in my head, I was trying to think, like, does he feel like they're just going along with it, and that's why he's being annoying and he's just pushing his way? But maybe he wanted to have a discussion. I don't know. That's annoying.
Yeah.
They said what they said. Basically. You didn't listen.
And he never will. But they go to breakfast the next morning, and people are coming in. Tom is dressed.
What is he wearing?
Like a punk rock newsboy from the Renaissance era.
He's got like a paperboy hat.
Yes.
Like a European paperboy hat. A scarf that doesn't match his shirt. His shirt's got like some patterns and some colors on it. He looks weird.
Yes. It's just,
It's like, are you still borrowing? I think this is his.
I think we're at
Your clothes
Tom's
came in.
wardrobe. Yes, Tom's clothes came in, which, you know what, I'm thankful for. Tom is definitely giving some comedic relief to the traitors. When he actually speaks, though, I don't do that. But the little moments, like in the challenge, in the breakfast, him just walking in, his facial expressions, I'm like, that is what you're good at. Keep doing that. Dylan,
and then when he walked inside, he was just like, jaw on the floor. There's no one in the room,
I was
Tom.
about to say he was the first one.
You're the first one. And Danielle is like, we're first. And he's just like,
he does things like it's clear to me he wants to be heard. Like,
he wants to be on the show.
He wants to be on the show.
Time.
He wants to be heard. He wants to make sure there's a soundbite. Because I think, just skipping a little ahead, when Alan does come, he's like, I think someone's like, oh, I think Alan's here. And he's like, or no, it was whoever they were discussing. People were like, this person's missing. And they're like, guys, this person's missing. Yeah, they're missing. Oh, yeah, them too. Yeah. It's like, yeah, they just said that, Tom. Like, they were just repeating what they said.
Yeah.
But Dylan is fangirling over Boston Rob. He's like, ooh, you've classed it up a little bit.
Rob is here. Guys, make way. Boston Rob is inside the building.
Roll out the carpet.
Let me clear your seat.
Let me sweep each step before.
Boston Rob, the hero.
Boston Rob is here. Boston
May
Rob
today
is
go
here.
down in history
Rob
as
here.
Boston Rob Day.
May today.
Dylan is Rob's biggest fan.
He is. And you know what? Going forward, it seems like Dylan wants to be loud and wrong. And we'll get to that too. But Dylan's in an interesting position. Nikki gets there. She's feeling mixed emotions because she feels like she still has heat on herself.
Yeah.
I will point out, just from a reality TV viewer standpoint, when they started to talk, like Nikki started to talk more than she's ever talked before, I'm like, oh, she's either like going home or she's gonna be like a big part of the discussion.
Yeah, I kind of felt that too. I was like, oh, she's talking this time. She's on the chopping block last time, but we hear her more this time.
Yeah.
I think they like intentionally give that person a little more clips. Like like how we were talking about last episode. It felt like Bob the Queen.
Too many obs.
Bob the drag queen was talking a lot. And I'm like, is he talking a lot? Or are they just showing him a lot? And I think they were just showing him a lot. So yeah, we hear from Nikki a little bit more. Rob says that he knows he looks suspicious and he's like kind of preparing his defense just in case anybody comes for him. So I'm like, okay, at least you're a little self-aware.
Yeah.
That's good.
He's pretty self-aware. Carolyn comes in like a bat out of hell.
Yo, I was like, Carolyn, what did you just go? She looked disheveled, and then how she sat down in her chair, she like kicked her legs up to sit down, and I was like, I know you're tall, but like,
she
maybe
did
pull the chair out.
Yeah, she's just like out of breath. She's like, and then Derek's like, you good? And she's like, girl,
these heels are so hard to walk in.
Like, what are you? Did you just fucking run track? Like, why are you,
no,
like,
Bob H starts laughing. He's like, she's always so disheveled. And then Dylan is like, she's out of it. Like, they're all noticing how like crazy she looks. And I'm like, Carolyn.
Yeah, Danielle's like, yes. And this is where we kind of get a hint with Danielle, because she's just saying she's unsure if she can trust Carolyn to go for Boston Rob. Just kind of introducing that idea. And it's like, well, maybe talk to her and see.
And Carolyn's like, everybody thinks I'm stupid, and that's my plan, motherfuckers. Keep playing with me. Keep playing with me. And I'm like, okay, Carolyn,
play with me if you want to.
I know how to play games.
But the last two to arrive are Gabby and Sam, which means Robin was sadly murdered.
I'm actually sad.
I was too. I don't even like Robin like that. And I'm like, no, I want you to stay.
A moment of silence for Robin. That's enough.
Good enough.
Anyway, Robin's gone.
Bye, girl.
Bye, Robin. She was eating it up. She was doing her thing. And honestly, it wasn't a bad vote to take out Robin.
I mean, no, she's pretty vocal.
I mean, she wasn't on to anyone, so keeping her wouldn't have been bad. She could continue to steer people into the wrong direction. I feel like Sam was, and Gabby. I love Gabby. But I feel like they were good suggestions.
Options. Oh, definitely. Especially in hindsight.
Yeah.
But maybe they'll find that out the hard way.
Yeah, because killing someone random does kind of throw people off a little bit. Like, oh, what did Sam have? Oh, let me try to remember things Sam said. Or what was Gabby doing? Oh, Gabby's a Bambi. Blah, blah, blah. You know, it could start more discussions. But another housewife.
But that would take too much logic. But it flashbacks to the night, and essentially they come to the decision of Robin because Danielle caves and is just like, you know what? Let's just go Robin.
Yeah.
Like, it kind of makes sense. And Carolyn reluctantly is like, whatever.
Yeah.
And then we see Robin finding out she was murdered, and she's like, the traitors did that because they know that I'm a threat. But now they got to work because Bob's gone. And I'm like...
She kind of was a little bit of a threat.
To herself.
No, she was. She got into people's ears, I felt. Like
but not about any of the traitors.
But she's still influential. She's not like Sam, who does nothing, well, we don't see him giving anything.
We don't.
Ivar, not really much either.
Ivar decided to pipe up this episode,
he speaks, but it doesn't, like, people listen, but it's not like, oh, you're right. Yeah, it doesn't like, spark a discussion.
Yeah, it's just like, here he goes.
Yeah.
He's trying to be like that one British guy that was on season 2. I forget his name.
Oh, yeah.
You're a Duchess of Deception.
They killed him early, right?
He made it kind of far, but they definitely, I think Phaedra killed him before she was banished, at least.
Is Ivar the one who's British royalty or whatever?
I think so.
Or was that the first guy they killed?
No, they killed Dorinda.
No, the second person. Who was...
Wells?
Yeah, what was Wells?
He was Bachelor.
Oh, okay.
He's actually, to bring it back to a place of Love Island, he's married to Sarah Hyland, who was the host of Love Island USA.
She's young, though.
She's not that young.
What's their age gap?
I think they're both in like their 30s.
Sarah Hyland is 30?
If she's not in her 30s, late 20s.
You know what? It's because I just picture her as a kid from...
A Modern Family.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's kind of petite.
She is very petite.
She reads younger than I think she is.
Yeah, they probably had her playing a teen when she was in her 20s. Okay. Sarah, you looking good. Wells looks Sarah. A little old, but you look good, girl.
Oh. Alan comes in and he, like, throws the picture.
Why did they break so easily?
I know, right?
Like, it crumples. He's just like...
Oh, well.
He gives it, like, a very, like, minimal toss. He puts a little arm into it, but it shatters.
Mm-hmm. But he hints at a puzzle mission.
Yeah.
Dolores is sad. She's like, oh, my Robin, this is sad. This is so sad. Robin was a faithful. Mm-hmm. It's like, we know, girl. She was murdered.
She's like, I'm definitely next, guys. I need a shield today.
And it's like, you're probably not next because they're probably eventually going to try to make it seem it's you as the last housewife standing, but we'll see. Ivar tells Carolyn and Derek about Wes's theory about Boston Rob. And I'm like, okay, kind of.
Oh, word is spreading, maybe.
Getting the word out there. They separate from breakfast. Brittany's thinking that Nikki is acting suspicious. I think because at the breakfast, Nikki had turned to her and was just like, who do you think is going to get murdered? And she's like, probably Gabby. And she's like, to break up the alliance. And I'm like, I know you're a faithful, but you're kind of sounding like a traitor,
that's what Nikki said?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even hear that.
Her inflection was just a little like, you sound guilty and I know you're not. So like, what are we doing? Like, oh no. Nikki didn't do herself any favors this episode, I don't think.
I mean, Nikki's like very just like calm and cool and collected, and I think that like something she says could be read the wrong way because she's just so calm and matter of fact. Like she's just very direct and stern. Yeah,
she has like principle.
Yeah,
very authoritative voice.
Yeah,
and like a stern look in her face.
And I'm surprised they haven't noticed that by now. Yeah, because Wes threw out the performing thing and she's like no, and everybody's like no.
I wonder because it really hasn't, like, that much time hasn't passed. Like, it's episode 5. I think it's only been, like, 5 days. It's just so much happens, which is, like... But it's, like... So they kind of don't know each other, but they kind of do. I don't know. It's, like, weird.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'd be interested to get
because
a time.
To them, the coffin thing was last night or the night before.
Night before,
yeah, 2 nights ago. So it's very fresh in their minds. I mean, nothing much has happened for them to go off of, so it makes sense.
Right. The Bambis meet about how they might be targeted next, And then we cut to Ivar again. And he decides to say this theory about Boston Rob, but to Boston Rob.
This is crazy.
And he says that Wes told him. And I'm like, why are you... Okay.
Why would you do that, Ivar?
Why would you want to tell Boston Rob? But let's say you wanted to gain favor and like get in the know with him. Like if you think he's a traitor and maybe you're trying to tell him so like you know he knows you have his back or something. Like maybe I just came up with that idea of why he would
that's a valid idea. Maybe he felt like Rob was an ally to him, so he wanted to like let him know. But I was like, Ivar, or maybe Ivar doesn't buy the theory and that's why he says it. That makes sense actually.
Maybe,
because if he did, then I think he would be. Because the logic in my head is like, if you do think it's possible, then you should be scared, right?
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't want to be so close to Rob. And Sam is there too. Sam is hearing this.
Yes, and like I just don't get why he said Wes said it.
Yeah,
I'm like, don't throw someone under the bus.
Throwing Wes under the bus is crazy, and telling someone that someone suspects they're a traitor is crazy, unless you really feel like they're a good ally.
Yeah,
and that's just weird to me. So. But they're like, but we think it's Wes. Ivar and Sam are like, we're suspecting Wes. Yeah. And Rob is like, all I hear in my head is Wes is coming for me.
He's like the Terminator. He's just like, Wes. So he goes to confront Wes, and Wes instantly denies it. And he was like, no, I was praising you for being bold enough to call out Bob the drag queen.
I've never seen Wes like fold like that.
Yeah, I mean,
because he usually has the upper hand in games, but
he does. But this time it's like because he tells us he's pretty sure Boston Rob is a traitor, and he's kind of just like, I'm not trying to piss him off, because I don't want to get murdered. Rob
asks him like 3-4 different ways, and Wes is like, nope, that wasn't me. Yeah. That wasn't me, dude. Because as soon as Rob approaches him, Wes says, hey man, people are saying your name. And that's when Rob is like, they said you said it. And he's like, nope, not me.
I would never.
I was complimenting. I was saying that how much it was a good move if you were like the way he spun it, I was like, not very convincing, but
not very. Boston Rob didn't seem like he was believing it.
No. And Wes didn't really make it believable. He's just like, no. That's it. And then your story about, give another name. Nah, man, it was Derek. Derek told me, blah, blah, blah. I would throw somebody else under the bus, at least make a better lie.
Yeah, or I think about like who you told and be like, no, they told me or something.
You can tell Wes has never been backed in the corner. He's like, shit. And you folded like a little punk, Wes. That was not very good. Bit. You folded like a pretzel. And I would too. So yeah. I'd be like, Boston Rob, I am so sorry. My allegiance is to you. You can have the keys to my car. Whatever I make, today off of this game, I'll give it to you. Like, Rob, I don't want no smoke.
You can have all my ball caps. And you can wear them backwards. Boston pulls Carolyn aside and says, I'll never turn on you. And she's just like, it's scary given what he did, like, to trust him.
And she says that out loud, which I think is really smart.
It is. And then this part. So Danielle pulls Carolyn aside to talk. And Carolyn even tells her, like, it's scary after what Rob just did. And she opens up to her about how Boston Rob is coming to her being like, oh, he's like making sure, are we good? Like all this, like being very transparent.
And she even asks Danielle, has he done that to you? Has he brought this up to you? Yeah. Has he pulled you aside as well to say how much he trusts you? And Rob is kind of like lurking around the corner during this.
And then Danielle's conclusion to this is they're working together and I need to get Boston Rob out of here. But the only way I can do that is if I get Carolyn out. And I can hopefully pull someone in who I can work with.
Danielle, what the hell?
Danielle.
What the hell, Danielle?
Why are you overcomplicating this?
Whoa.
Carolyn is basically saying she's with you. She's trusts you more than Boston Rob. She can work with you. Why would you get rid of one person to get rid of another? Especially if people are suspecting that Boston Rob is a traitor now. This could be easy.
And she heard it because at breakfast, I think it was... Ivar tells Danielle and whoever was sitting next to her No, it was Carolyn. Never mind.
Carolyn.
But Carolyn did hear that people are talking about Rob.
Yeah.
But, like,
so if they talked more, Carolyn could tell her.
Yeah.
And then they could like feed off that.
Like, Danielle, you gave this girl you gave this girl less than 10 seconds to like see where she's at. And you use that 10 seconds to jump to the biggest conclusions of is this what we look like when we jump to conclusions? She is like jumping over the bridge for this. And I'm like, Danielle, you have lost your stuff. I'm so sorry, sis. I love you so much. You're a great game player. Big Brother was your game. Traitors is not it. You gotta like take some time to think about things, because she's thinking about it as a traitor. Granted, though, let's give her a break, because Rob just took out Bob the Queen, who was her biggest ally. She's probably just not very like trusting. She probably just feels in general like hyper scared, like very aware that this guy could backfire. And all she hears is this, and she's like, so I get why like she's jumping to conclusions, but it's like you gotta like kind of dial it back a little bit, check in with yourself, and then, you know, make some moves. You know what I mean? Like, I get why she's suspicious. That wouldn't make me feel good either. But you didn't listen to anything Carolyn said, which is a theme. Nobody is listening to anything Carolyn says.
No.
Nobody is listening to her.
Yeah, and it's just like, had she maybe not been playing a little messy beforehand, yes, but she's just, I feel like, spiraling this episode a little bit. Yeah. Especially with the mission. But it's just like,
I think she just feels alone.
I think, yeah.
With Bob gone.
And it's just, I don't know. She's like adding unnecessary obstacles. What I will say, and that I do appreciate, is she's getting like, a lot of people online are being like, what the fuck, Danielle?
Yeah.
And she like made a video responding. She was just like, you know what? I get it. There's a lot that wasn't shown, but like, I get what you're saying. I'm playing a little messy, but we'll explain at some point. You'll see what happens.
Okay.
All that. I'm like, at least she's able to kind of like take it.
Yeah.
And like kind of be like, it's not that serious, but like, I get it.
Yeah.
You know?
And the weird part about her plan is she's like, they're working together, so I have to get Carolyn out. But you forgot about Rob. What about Rob? How are you going to get Rob out? So you want a new traitor to come in and work with you and Rob?
Yeah. It's just like,
it's like, take out the person who's clearly against you, or take out the person who may be against you. Take out the one who's clearly against you.
Yeah.
And I think Carolyn would be down to take out Rob.
Oh, yeah.
And why didn't they go outside to talk? That's so annoying. They used to talk outside all the time.
They did.
Why are y'all talking in the foyer? Like, go outside, get some privacy, take a walk.
Right. I get maybe if she wanted to put out Carolyn's name because she knows no one's thinking it. But to be like, oh, I want to get her out in order to get Rob out, that's where I'm like, okay, you're losing me a little bit.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't. But we get to the challenge.
Mission time.
And on the way to the mission, Boston, this kind of is an important part, even though it didn't seem important at first. It comes back. Boston Rob is in a car with the Bambies, and he tells Nikki that Bob the drag queen wanted to vote for her. Mm-hmm. And she acts shocked. I didn't think much of her reaction.
She's just like,
she's like, what?
Yeah.
And then so he tells us, he's like, I'm lying, but I gotta work with people so they think I'm on their side. And it's like, okay.
Yeah, he's like, I'm trying to take the suspicion off me.
Right.
On the way to, Sierra is saying that she feels like she needs a shield because it's like her or Nikki at the round table today. And then Tom goes, if Nikki isn't a traitor, she's a really bad faithful. Houseway. The only good faithful, technically, is Rob because he got somebody out. What makes a good faithful? Please tell me. Enlighten me.
And what makes
Tom.
it so you?
Why are you a good faithful and Nikki's not?
Because last time I checked, both of y'all didn't vote for Bob last time. You voted for Nikki. And then when you said you were going to vote for Sierra, I can't. But that's a Tom moment.
Oh, Tom.
But they arrived to a church for the mission. And basically, it's a riddle challenge where Alan will read a riddle, and then someone needs to step up, and then they have 20 seconds to pick an urn with what word they think is the answer to the riddle. And then once they pick it, if they throw it to the ground, like to the stone pile, if it's gold, then that means you got it right, and you can pick a picture of someone and put them up for a shield. There's 2 shields up for grabs. But if they smash it and it's like black, that means that they're eliminated and they can't get a shield. Or I guess they could technically maybe get a shield, but they can't put their picture up to get a shield.
Yeah.
So I didn't write down all the questions. There was like 7 riddles.
I didn't. I more so just wrote down like who
highlights.
did what.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was Bob Harper or Ivar immediately goes, Bob's like, I can't even read the labels. I suck at riddles.
He's like, I didn't even listen to the question, but I want a shield. And it's like, okay, but maybe like listen then to the question.
Right.
So you can answer.
And then Tom Sandoval says he feels like he's really good at riddles. He's read Dan Brown and he's read Harry Potter, and you know Tom Riddle is in Harry Potter and he's feeling some Tom Riddle energy. What?
I know you like Harry Potter.
I know you like you're a Dementor, bitch.
You're a Dementor. I know you like Harry Potter.
Was he trying to take it back?
Well, she said it to Raquel, but maybe he was probably a wink to it.
I don't even want to give you any more energy, but you don't want Tom Riddle energy. What are you, some kind of demon? That's weird.
He is.
That's weird.
That's weird.
That's weird. I thought he was going to say his name was Tom, but he's like, no, I'm feeling Tom Riddle energy. Anyway, moving on. I don't want to give Tom any more airtime, even though he gets more later.
Oh, I know, right? I think doesn't then Derek gets one right and he puts his face.
Yeah, Derek goes first. No, actually, Bob Harper, who can't read the labels, goes first. He picks shield. He's wrong. It was the word was gold. So Bob Harper is out. Then Derek goes. He picks compass. He's right, and he gives himself a shield. Then Tom tries the third one. He feels he needs safety. He gets it right, and he gives himself safety. Then Brittany says that she feels like it makes more sense to just wait it out because there's going to be a bunch of questions. So
this is true.
Pictures are going to move. So maybe we should just wait. Yeah. Danielle goes, and she is right. So she's like, I want them to think I'm a faithful. I'm going to save a housewife. So she saves Dolores. And Dolores is like, what? And everybody's like, huh? Interesting. And Rob in his confessional is like, that makes her look so suspicious. That doesn't help her. And then she makes it worse because it's Tom's picture and Derek's picture, and she chooses Derek's picture to take down and puts Dolores up. And Derek's like, what? And she's like, I asked you for a shield at the beginning of the game and you didn't give me one. So sorry, Derek. And then in her confessional, she says she wants Tom on her side, even though she knows Derek is upset with her. This makes no sense.
It makes no sense whatsoever. One, not picking yourself makes no sense.
There's only 2 people to pick, girl. This is the time to be selfish.
Yes, this is the time. You don't look like a faithful by not wanting to protect yourself.
Also, because the way these games go, everybody chooses themselves. Even though people are irritated by it, that's what they do.
Yes.
So you doing it when there's only 2 safe spots available makes it look even more suspicious. Because when you want safety, I guess save Dolores, but that's weird.
No, look, this is the thing. You're trying to gain favor with 2 people that don't think you're a traitor while stabbing in the back someone who's supposed to be your ally.
And he is your ally, I would say.
Yeah, and now he's looking at you sideways because you just decided out of him and Tom to get rid of his shield and leave Tom with it.
And again, she's thinking like a traitor. She's not thinking like a faithful. And honestly, she's doing what Rob did. You're trying to think 2 steps ahead, but you're forgetting that about how it looks.
Yeah.
Optics are everything because there's nothing to go off of. So why would you do that? Save Dolores. And even Tom was like, she took me. She said she let me stay and Derek not.
Yeah.
Like, that's not going to help. No, girl, you're being weird. She's being
really weird.
Chriselle removes Tom. Then
she's
Tom,
like, this is a hard decision. I'm like, okay, Chriselle.
Tom goes again. He gets the question wrong, so he's out. And and then Danielle goes again. She gets it right, and she puts Derek back
and takes out Chriselle.
And Carolyn is like, she's acting so suspicious. And then she looks at Derek and she goes, you owe me one. And Derek is like, she didn't have to do that. Like, even Derek is like, why are you doing this?
That part.
Danielle, why? You don't have to do that.
No. And Dolores is like, why are you crying? I'm not going to accept you crying.
Yeah, because she started to like get upset. And Dolores is like, I don't accept this. Like, I know you're upset, but like, I don't accept this. Like, almost, she's trying to like separate herself from whatever Danielle is doing.
She's like, aren't you afraid you're going to get murdered? And it's like, yeah, that's how it looks, Danielle.
Yeah. And it's after she says that Danielle starts like kind of crying. And Alan is like, are you having second thoughts? And Danielle is like, now I feel like I'm going to get murdered. And then she starts crying. And that's when Dolores is like, I don't accept this. It's messy. A mess. Why, Danielle?
Yes.
You did something bad, then you did something extra bad. You made it worse. Because I guess in her head, she's like, oh, I'll just put Derek back and make it right. But it's like, nah, but you're doing too much now. Let's just sit down, lay low, and they'll forget. Don't bring more attention to yourself.
No, she's just like trying to like correct something that she did wrong in the first place and just ended up acting weird twice. Like, why are you even stepping up? You could have just not stepped up at all.
Yeah, I would have. I mean, after I fucked up like publicly like that, I would have just stayed seated.
Yeah.
But she tries to jump up again for the last riddle.
But Sierra takes it. Sierra uses her model legs and it's like, boop. And she takes it. She gets the riddle right. And she looks Derek in the eye and just goes, and then takes his picture and puts hers up. And it's like, period.
So Derek wasn't safe anyway. All that for what?
And Derek is just like, oh man. And then in his confessional, he's like, there's no use in getting upset though. I was like, you seem bothered. But
you did.
But so the two people who got the shields were Sierra and Dolores. So our Bravo girlies, our remaining Bravo girlies.
Yeah. Did you peep too that after Danielle like tried to cry and sit down, she was like whispering to Derek and she was like, if she's that worked up about being safe, then like, why do all that? Yeah. Like, if you were so scared about being safe, then why did you put Chriselle or put me and then put Derek and then you're like, oh, but my safety and now I'm sad. It's like you weren't thinking about your safety, I think is what she's trying to say.
Yeah, they're now looking at her sideways. Chriselle, they show a confessional where she's looking at her sideways. It seems like there's a lot more sus on Danielle, and there already previously has been by some people.
Yep.
So this isn't helping her case.
Not at all.
But this is where Danielle decides she's going to try to pull a Hail Mary on the way home. And she's in her van with Wes, Ivar, and Dylan. And on the way home, she's like, I had this theory about someone. I'm just going to put it out there. It's someone that no one has said their name before. And it's Carolyn. And they're like, oh. And I'm like, Danielle, what the fuck?
She's like, I think the traitors put Nikki and Sierra there as a buffer to distract us. And I think it's really Carolyn. And they're just like, interesting.
I know, right? They don't give it too much life, which we'll even see more of later. And
then in the other car, Sierra apologizes to Derek about the photo and says that like Danielle's move was and Derek is like, I'm fine, I just feel like what Danielle did was weird.
Yeah.
And Brittany and Tom are in the car hearing it too, so I thought that maybe people would be like talking about Danielle.
Right, like maybe her name would get brought up more. But not yet, at least.
No.
But they get home, and this is where Danielle and Brittany have a little one-on-one. And she's like, I think Carolyn's a traitor. And Brittany's like, she is not capable.
There's
of
no
that.
way.
There's no way at all. And like, I just don't think that that's the case. But then Danielle's like, she said your name, Brittany. And like, she got to the finals of Survivor. And Brittany's like, you know what? I'm always wrong about these things. So maybe so. I'll think about it. You make some good points. I will say, slight, I don't know, spoiler. It's a speculation.
I don't want to hear it.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Thank you.
It's about a screenshot from the trailer.
I'm good. And then Danielle was, when they got out of the car, Danielle was also trying to like keep talking to Dylan.
Oh yeah.
And she's like, trust me, man. I really have a good feeling. And Dylan's like, I don't agree, Danielle. Please.
Yeah. Leave me alone.
And when she was petitioning to Brittany, she's like, I spent a lot of time with this person. I think it's Carolyn. Why would you loop yourself in there with her? Mm-hmm. You're basically doing what Rob just did. Like, how do you know that?
Well,
how do you know that the least suspicious person is suspicious?
I was listening or watching Carolyn's podcast with that Carson guy from Survivor. Mm-hmm. It's called Let's Get Treacherous or something. And he pointed out, he was like, he thought that Danielle was subliminally trying to tell Brittany, oh, I'm a traitor, so I would know. And I'm like, interesting. Oh. Which I didn't think at first, but then given the retelling, maybe?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But next, at a random moment that I didn't see coming, Chriselle, with her hat, pulls Boston Rob aside. Mm-hmm. She's like, I just wanted to tell you about something I've been thinking, but I'm like scared, but I know you're like good at this. And she's like, it's just what happened in the van. Like, Nikki. And he's like, oh, you think it's her? And she's like, the face she made when you said Bob wanted to say her name sent a shiver down my spine. I just got this bad feeling. And I'm like, good thing you don't get paid for having feelings. Because what? I thought her face was so not suspicious.
I didn't think anything of it. She was just like, but maybe she doesn't often gasp. And Chriselle's just like, maybe she doesn't often gasp. I don't know.
I guess.
Nikki's like, crucify me for having reactions.
They do not like her reactions. But she's like nervous because she's like, oh, we're the Bambis. I'm going to be breaking the trust of not only her, but Gabby as well.
Yeah, she feels really torn up about it. I'm like, Nikki is just being caught in the like web of like, but we think it's you. So everything you do looks suspicious at this point.
Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Wes still thinks it's Nikki. Derek tells us he's on to Rob, but he plans on bringing up Sierra at the round table. Mm-hmm. And then Nikki's just feeling frustrated that she has so much heat on her. Yeah. She's like, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do. Like, I know some people would like maybe like go and try to plead their case, but I'm not like that. And it's like, well, girl, in this game, you need to be.
I mean, I kind of get what she's saying. Like, what is she supposed to say?
Anything.
But what is it? You can't just say anything. I think in her head she's like, I'm damned if I do, I'm damned if I don't. Y'all think it's me, all right, I get to go home. If, I low-key, I feel like I'd be like that too. Like, because what can you really say? Once people really start thinking it's you, nothing you can do is gonna help you.
This is true. And I mean,
it's not good to shut down, but I get why she's doing it.
If you're not a gamer too, you can't really like think of much that would help. So I get it. But I'm like,
no, but really, what is she supposed to say?
I don't know.
Maybe talk about Sierra more.
Come up with a good case of Sierra other than the coffin theory. Maybe think of another theory if you think it's somebody else potentially. Maybe push the Boston Rob thing if you know maybe somebody. I'm sure there's other people that the Bambis have discussed could be a traitor. Say anything. Don't just say nothing. I mean, I don't know. Maybe she did say more and we didn't see, to be fair. I've heard these roundtables are like an hour and a half to 2 hours long. And we only see like maybe 10 minutes. So
what I love about this cast is that there are two people who've clearly done suspicious the balloons because I did peace.
That's funny.
I thought it was thumbs up.
It does a thumbs up on the Zoom. If you're watching the YouTube, it randomly did balloons.
Anyway, I had two fingers up. There are two people who have done suspicious shit. Rob has been weird. How did Rob know so well? That's actually a valid case. Mm-hmm. And Danielle, what did she do with the challenge? That was really weird. Nobody is talking about them. Nobody is talking about either of them.
They're not.
That is very... I mean, people... I think the guys are like, it could be Rob, but like, we got to be more calculated if we do that. Mm-hmm. But Danielle was acting weird. I don't know why they didn't just jump for Danielle. And they're worried about this whole coffin thing. There must have been a traitor in the coffin. Once you plant things in people's head, it really sticks, because I would have ran for something else. Like, Who knows? Why would a traitor put themselves in the coffin, or why would they? You know, I get it, but like, it's just crazy how there's two people who are like very suspicious that they're not talking about as much. Granted, we didn't see all the talks.
Yeah, I feel like next episode the coffin theory might end. Hopefully,
they're like, we can't kill it. 2 out of 3.
That part, it's like it's clear. Left. Maybe we should go a different direction. But they get to the round table, and Ivar randomly starts, and he's like, "I'm just gonna throw out the 3 names being discussed: Nikki, Sierra, and Rob." And this is where he tells everybody about the Rob theory. Not that Wes said it, but just that it's a theory.
Thank you, Ivar.
Right.
I wonder if Wes went to Ivar and was like, "Did you say my name?"
I know, right?
He came over to me.
He said something. He said people are saying my name. But this is where Rob swears he's not a traitor, and he went after Bob because he saw how he interacted with everyone.
Yeah. And he said that when he threatened him, he projected whatever he had to say, whatever Rob had to say back onto him, which is like something someone does if they're a liar. And he's like, I didn't name a bunch of people like Tony, not Tony catching strays.
I know, right?
Like Tony.
Like Tony did.
Like that dumbass Tony, you know, that guy who we voted
Bald
out.
ass Tony, you know, we got him episode 3.
I didn't do what he did. I picked one person and I stuck to it because I was just so sure. And I felt so convicted. Yeah, wow. Not a great reason, Rob. And that's what I'm saying. What can you really say to get people off you? Because I think that response is stupid.
I thought it was too. I don't know how.
Even though it was like a pretty, decent defense. Still lame.
This is where Nikki, okay, if you're not going to say anything, don't say anything. Yeah. But this is when you shouldn't say something. She's like, Rob, I think you're a faithful because you're such a great game player. You wouldn't make such a bad move. I'm like, girl, if you know the heat's on you and it's introduced this theory, run with it because it's a good theory. Push for it. Be like, yes, obviously it's Rob. How else would he know for sure that Bob was a traitor? I didn't even fucking vote for Bob. Hello. I was one of the few that didn't. I voted for Sierra. I still don't know how to spell her name. Do you think I know?
Yeah, is it an I or an E? Is it C-I? Is it S-I-E? Is it C-E-A?
Beats me. I know nothing. It's Rob, like something. And especially because if you know, like, you're one of the people and it could be you or Sierra, I don't know. But just like to say that, I was like, girl, wrong move. But it is what it is.
That's funny because I was like, they don't play with average people anymore, but they still do.
Oh, yeah.
They just play with like our favorite average people.
They just play with average people we know. Yeah.
It's like she's obviously not a game player and I'm not either. So I get it. It's okay, Nikki.
But
she was staying true to herself. She was sticking to the truth, which is not what you do in Traitors.
No, it's called Traitors. But this is where Sam goes. If Rob survives the night, then I'm coming for him. And I'm like, ooh, Rob, what was that about him not having to worry about Sam?
He says he doesn't know anything.
Sam's stupid.
He doesn't know nothing. They're like, don't worry about Sam. Talking about Sam is like, well, if you're here tomorrow, I'm gonna worry about you.
Yes. And then this is where Sierra speaks up and she's like, I'm a faithful. I was just shaken after the coffin situation. I was like, who put me in here? So my guard went up and I just found it weird, Nikki, that you voted for me. And Nikki's like, I don't think it's weird at all because I think you're a traitor. What's weird about that? And Sierra's like, well, I think you're a traitor. And you want to know why? I just think it's so fucking odd how you're so even keel about everything. Have you even laughed from your gut since you've been here?
Laughed from my gut?
I'm like...
She's like, you're always so calm. Your emotions don't change. Your face is so straight. Not laughed from your gut.
I'm like...
I mean, look, Sierra's trying to defend herself. I get it, girl. She's playing the game.
At this part, I'm like, look, this is like, you don't have much to go off of. She's also wrong, but she does also know it's between her and Nikki. Yeah. So she's like, Nikki voted for me. I gotta come for Nikki.
Yep.
I gotta get her where I can. So
that's what I gotta do.
Find anything you can. Like, it is what it is. That just was a very funny thing to say.
And Nikki's just like, some faithfuls don't talk a lot. Some faithfuls are quiet. And I'm one of those faithfuls. Some faithfuls are calm.
Some faithfuls just are. And it's just like, way to... campaign for there's different kind of faithfuls out here, guys.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
I mean,
it ain't that deep.
Yeah, she was ready to go home, I think.
I think so too. And Nikki says, I think it's Sierra because she became distant with her after the coffin situation. Or Brittany introduced it because she was like, we noticed a shift. And Nikki was like, oh yeah, you separated from me after the coffin, or you became distant. Yeah. And then this is where Chriselle decides she's going to have her moment. But it's a very hesitant. She's kind of crying.
She's like,
I don't want to do this. I just don't want to do this.
I'm really nervous and I don't want to talk about it.
No, I just can't. I'm just worried. Oh, this is a lot. But
I gotta say something.
Nikki, just I just feel like there was a shift. And there was a moment where I was just like, I think you might be a traitor. And I was like, girl,
Chriselle, get it together.
Get it together.
If you're not ready to talk, don't talk.
That hat's too heavy on your head or something. Shut up.
It was a really cute hat.
I hated it. You were the second person I've seen who said it.
I liked it.
Maybe I'm off. I just thought it was too thick.
Brendan is currently wearing the thickest hat ever made.
It's not. It's soft.
Brendan is wearing the thickest of thickest hats. If a hat could be thick, this one is thick.
No, hers was thick, solid. You could knock on it and it would knock back.
No,
this is soft.
It was soft. We don't, Krisha, I liked your hat.
I didn't.
I just think you should have maybe not said anything.
She shouldn't have.
But I get it because, you're trying to make an informed decision, and now she's suspicious of her friend. She didn't even explain it right because you told us you were suspicious because her jaw dropped. Yeah. But now you're just saying that you noticed a shift. What does that even mean?
I don't know, but I do think that's what kind of put the nail in the coffin for Nikki, because if one of the Bambies is coming for her,
yeah,
everyone's probably
or
like, well,
production
damn.
just wanted to show us the betrayal.
Maybe. But Nikki essentially just kind of says it is what it is. I'm a faithful, but I don't know
changed.
if it matters.
I'm a faithful. You have assumptions. I can't change it.
Yeah. And when we think this is over, Bob Harper
It's like, wait, I have a theory.
He circles back. He's like, Boston Rob, I've been watching you for years, and it would totally be like you to come in as a traitor and instantly take out a traitor. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like,
yeah,
you're not wrong.
He's like, to establish dominance, you would do that. And wouldn't that be a badass move, guys?
And everyone's like, maybe. And Boston Rob's like, oh no, I don't think so. I swear I'm not a traitor. This is a great theory, but I'm not a traitor. And it's like,
He's like, that would be great, but that's not what happened.
Yeah.
And I'm like, isn't that what Nikki is saying? Y'all believe him, but not Nikki. Anyway, poor Nikki. It's time to vote, y'all. And guess what?
Pretty much everybody
votes for Nikki. Chriselle votes for Nikki, says, I hope we can be friends. Dylan randomly votes.
Be friends, but I like to just pretend. Ariana Grande?
Yes. Dylan votes for Gabby.
Oh, this pissed me off. This was because Gabby's like, I'm dead.
Gabby's just like, what? And Dylan's like, we're all focused on the wrong people. Gabby. And then, he didn't really even explain it that much.
No, and he's like, I'll stand on this island alone. And he just has this smug smile. And I'm like, sir, yes, you're right about the Gabby and Nikki thing, but you are wrong about Gabby. And you think you're so right because you were right about Bob the drag queen. But a broken clock may be right twice a day, but Dylan Efron is not on the Traitors. So he's wrong about Gabby.
Mm-hmm. And Nikki voted for Sierra, but everyone else voted for everybody else voted for Nikki. But the two people to go last are Danielle and Gabby. And when Danielle goes, I have no trust in Danielle anymore. I'm like, Danielle, you've been acting weird. Are you about to vote for Carolyn or Rob or something? But no, she votes for Nikki. And I'm like, great. Okay. But then Gabby goes. And before the round table, Gabby and Nikki were talking. And Gabby said, Nikki, I'm going to stand by you. Don't worry. I have your back. I'm going to defend you. And she votes for Nikki.
She does. She probably was like, because Chriselle did.
Yeah, everybody turned on her. I mean, I get it. They all are putting out evidence against Nikki. There's probably things we didn't hear. And it just and Nikki didn't really defend herself, as we see.
Yeah. So Nikki's gone. She stands up and she's like, I just want to tell you all that you shouldn't judge a book by its cover.
I think I wrote it down.
Did you write it all?
What I want to leave you all with is this. We are all born different and our personalities are different and we do things different. So from this point on, don't judge people from who they are or how you think they should play this game. The win for me is that I get to go home to my son. The loss for you all is that I'm a faithful. That's a pretty good speech. Go off, Queen Nikki.
I like the ending, but I'm like, what else are you supposed to go off of?
But no, I get what she's saying. You're gonna vote for me just because I'm quiet? The fuck?
I guess, but I'm like, you're supposed to go off based off what they do. It, like, I get it, but I'm a little like,
she felt like they were judging her.
Was me a faithful story? Everybody's judging me. It's like, girl, they just thought you were quiet. Relax. Like, I don't know.
No, I think that, but that's her. I think that's her point. Is like, that's my personality. Is I'm just quiet, and that was my personality this whole time.
Yeah.
You know, like you can't judge me for being quiet. That's what she felt like they were voting on. I think they were also voting for her, though, because she didn't really defend herself.
That part, too. I'm like, you got to defend yourself. And also, are you kind of not judging Sierra and voting for her because she was distant, so more quiet to you? Yeah. So I'm like, it's what it is. Like,
and it's funny because while she's speaking, Dylan's nodding like, yeah, we shouldn't do that. Okay, but she definitely, well, hey, look, if I got voted out of the Traitors and I was a faithful, I'd want everybody to feel like shit. And she accomplished that.
I'd be like, well, I hope you're all happy.
Sucks to suck for you guys. I hope you all lose.
It sucks
I hope
to
the Traitors win.
It sucks to look foolish on television, and sadly for you all, you've succeeded at that. I'm a faithful. Purr. But everyone's fucking upset and depressed. Sierra's crying. She's like, I know I'm next. Like, this is crazy. Chriselle feels guilty. And this is the kiss of death on reality TV. If Tom Sandoval goes up to you and says he respects you, just know you did something bad. You did something wrong. You're on the wrong road, the wrong path. You need to reroute. You need to enter a new address into the GPS. You need to find a new map. You need to find a new location. If going right, left, go forward because you're going somewhere wrong.
Don't listen to that man. He's like, Chriselle, I really respect. I know it's art. I really respect your move. And she's like, no, I feel worse.
She's like, I feel like a bitch. He's like, I know, I respect it. Remember the Vanderpump Rules finale? Lala, I respect the fuck out of what you just did, man. And Lala's like, but. And he's like, no, like, kudos. Like, you got my props. And then she's just like, fuck.
Why do I have his props?
A telltale sign that you are just doing the wrong thing. And then they're all out there. Dolores,
they're just crying.
She's like, Chriselle's crying to Gabby. Sierra's just there crying. She's like, can I be the new Bambi? And it's like, you should. Y'all are bad bitches. Y'all should all be the Bambis.
And Dolores is just kind of matter-of-factly being like, I don't know.
I don't know how you guys are going to go.
This was really hard, guys.
Yes.
I thought she was pointing it at them, but she kind of took a little bit, but was mostly like, how are y'all going to sleep today?
How are y'all going to do this? It's just at one point it's her, Sierra, Gabby, and Chriselle. They're just crying, and Gabby's like, it's clear they're like targeting us,
which is valid. Gabby, you have good ass reads. They were. That was the whole point.
Love Gabby. Her TikTok. She was like, I'm watching this and I'm like shocked, and like I was there, but I'm shocked.
Gabby! Oh, that's so funny.
Sierra made me laugh too because she posted a picture of her outfit and her caption was, IDK what's on tonight's episode, but I'm probably fighting for my life because idiots think I'm a fucking traitor, but this is what I wore.
Let me see.
I'm like, her.
Okay, cutie. Oh,
Eat
that's
up,
funny.
Sierra. I love you.
They had her stressed in that castle.
She's like, I don't know why people think I'm a fucking traitor. They put me in a coffin. I didn't think it'd be like this.
That's so funny.
But Derek pulls Wes aside, and this is where he says, you know, I think it's Rod. Like, you know, I'm starting to like get suspect of him. And then he tells us, you know, if Rob's smart, he'll kill me tonight. Because if not, I'm coming for him. And I'm like, we'll see.
How would Rob know to kill you tonight?
That part. Anyway. Did you say anything that would make him think that you thought it was him?
If anything, Wes is gonna die. But I thought it was funny or interesting how he's like, Rob is always watching. Like, did you see him tonight? He's always like looking around. And it's true. Carolyn and freaking Danielle were trying to have a conversation. You see Rob swooping in the other room, looking around. Like, he is always watching. So
he is.
And then Dylan and Carolyn have a chat.
Yes.
Carolyn is eating cereal before bed. And Dylan's like, I just have to tell you something. Someone's putting your name out there. I don't want to say. Should I say? It was Danielle. It was Danielle. And I'm trying to, like, Carolyn's eyes just, she actually didn't really, she took the information. She didn't really have a reaction, but she took it in.
She took it in. You could see a little in her eyes, but it wasn't too much.
Yeah.
It was like a believable shock. Like, damn,
like,
someone's saying my name.
Wow, really? And Dylan's like, yeah. And I'm trying to, like, get her off. I'm trying to tell her no. So Dylan doesn't suspect either of them. He just thinks Danielle is being silly, and he's trying to tell Carolyn. And Carolyn is just like, I just want to work with people. I'm just trying to work with
She's
people.
like, bring it to the round table.
Yeah.
Bring it to the round table.
Yeah. She's like, let her say something.
Right. And she's basically just telling us, she's like, I'm shocked that Danielle is doing this. Like, once again, like, I can't trust any of these traitors.
So she's like, well, now let's go into the turret and say who we want to murder, each other. And I'm like, yeah.
Basically.
Yep, that's it. And she's like, I'm not going to pretend to work as a team anymore. These guys suck, and I need to do something about it. She's pissed.
Do. I'm like, Carolyn, yeah, like, you need to, like, stand on something and really, because, like, now your name's being put out there.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how much you should do, because Danielle's told a couple people and they haven't seem that receptive to it from what we've seen.
Yep.
But you got to do something.
I don't know what you should do.
Yeah, I don't. We'll see, because it's like, it ends with them going to the turret and then they take their capes off, and Danielle or Carolyn's looking at Danielle like pissed.
Yeah, no, like she wants to cut her throat. And
yes.
And in the preview, we see that Carolyn says that, like, we're all trying, she calls it out, like, we're all trying to murder each other. What the hell? And she does throw Danielle. We see a clip of her saying Danielle's name at a round table.
Yeah, she's like, you're the one starting chaos, Danielle. And I'm like,
Ugh.
I hope it doesn't put suts on Carolyn. But I think Danielle is going to last a little longer.
Really? I think she's about to go home.
Can I say my theory as to why?
Sure.
I don't know how much longer, but people are pointing out there's 2 hats she hasn't worn to a round table yet.
Danielle?
Yes, but I think one of the hats she wears next episode.
Danielle wears hats?
She hasn't, but she's going to start wearing hats.
Oh, okay,
That's
okay.
the thing.
Two hats.
There's 2 different ones.
Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's 2 in a row. So I'd say within the next 2 episodes, she's probably gone, which is still relatively soon.
Yeah. Because the clip they're showing us could be from a further out episode.
It could be. They could be misleading us. And I have a feeling next time it's either Carolyn or Boston Rob.
Yeah.
If Carolyn puts too much sus on her based off her reaction, they could vote for her. Or it seems like there's people like Derek who are leaning towards Boston Rob.
Yeah.
And Sam said he would come for Boston Rob if Boston Rob lives. There's enough people kind of saying his name.
Yeah, there are.
So,
well, we'll see if but the guys are kind of acting scared with this information. So let's see if they actually do something about it.
Yeah, we'll see. It's just, I think a traitor will be caught, but I guess we'll just see which one.
I think you have to convince Dylan first, and Dylan thinks it's Gabby, so who fucking knows?
Dylan, you were right once. Shut up.
No, Dylan really feels like he's that shit. Like, I knew it first. I was the first one. Remember how I told y'all first?
Yeah, we remember.
That was me.
Great. Anyways, guess who's wrong now?
You.
But that was it for the episode. Next week looks good.
It does. Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Very excited. But you wanted to talk about how you've been scammed. Is this the car thing?
Yes,
okay.
y'all. I got scammed.
You got something.
We've been doing this thing of, like, calling out businesses lately. Yeah. Okay, this is the irony. You ready, Brandon?
I am.
About 3 weeks ago, it was a Thursday, and I had therapy, and my therapist told me, you need to stand up for yourself more. Mm-hmm. And since then, every motherfucker under the sun, friends, family, strangers, have been trying my life.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've done a good job standing up for myself for the most part. But this one, I was like, ooh, I didn't fight enough. I was Carolyn. I didn't fight enough. So literally the next day, I decide to go to Toyota of Tampa Bay. I bought my car from there. They're a good dealership. And I've been having issues with my tire pressure sensor. And I went to a different mechanic once and they're like, yeah, you need to replace this one. And I was like, bet. And I brought it there and they're like, actually, you don't need to. And I was like, okay. And since then, it's just turning on and off and it's acting very abnormal. Sometimes I'll drive, it'll be off. Sometimes I'll drive, it'll turn on and then it'll turn off again. So obviously there's a malfunction, right? I bring it there, they do an assessment and he's like, we need to change one. Just one, but it's going to be like $600. And I'm like, I'm about to drive to West Palm Beach. It was like a 4-hour drive. I wanted to just like feel good about my tire sensor, the sensor, because one time I had a tire pop when I was on the road, actually to West Palm. And so I just wanted peace of mind. And I'm like, all right, I didn't really want to spend this money and I could wait to go to a cheaper mechanic, but you do it. Take it. You whatever. He changes it on Friday. I drive down to West Palm. I'm coming back Sunday and the light turns on as soon as I turn my car on. I'm like, damn, I just spent $600, almost $600 on this. Like, this is really expensive. Whatever, I'll bring it back. I bring it back the next week. Mind y'all, when I'm going, guys, I have to sit at the mechanic and wait. So I'm like, I work from home. So I'm bringing my work there. I'm setting up a table. It's inconveniencing me. And I go and I waited like 3 hours for them to fix it. I bring my car the next week and I'm like, hey man, I spent money. Like, come on, what are you doing? And he's like, we won't charge you for the inspection. We'll take a look. He comes to me an hour later. Oh, it was just the air in your tires. I was like, didn't you put air in it when you changed the sensors and fixed it? And he's like, oh, he didn't really like answer. And I'm like, okay, you sure it's just air? And he's like, yeah. And if you want, like, you know, go to Costco, that you could put nitrogen in that like lasts better. But because of the weather, the air could be changing in your tire or whatever. We just put some air. You're good to go. I leave. Cool. I have another long drive. This was again a Thursday. Friday, I drive for maybe half an hour to my destination and the stupid light comes on again. I pull over, I put air, I make sure all of the tires are good on air and the light doesn't turn off. So I'm like, I call my dad and I'm like, I spent $600 and this is not fixed. This is not fixed. And he's like, you have to go back. And I'm like, I don't want to go back. Like, this is stupid. So I call the guy on my phone and I'm like, hey man, this is on again. Again, I spent $600. Like, what are we going to do? And he's like, yeah, just bring it back, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, this is my third visit. And he's like, okay, I'll get a manager involved because they can alter the prices and stuff like that. And I'll try to help you out, whatever. I go back. I wait. Almost 2.5 hours. I wanted to go somewhere with Brandon and I had to miss it because they had my freaking car. And he's like, it looks like all 3 sensors, the 3 that we didn't change, yeah, those are all broken now. And okay, yeah, so let me tell you the price before I change it. And so he quotes me for like almost $1,200 and he brings it down to $940. And he's like, I'll change all 3, but we don't have the part, so I'll put you in a rental and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, no. The fuck? Brandon, how did I change 1 for $600 but you're gonna change 3 for $940? So that means you ripped me off the first time. What the hell? It's just, that just shows they can make up prices. And for also real. Just like, they should be doing it for free, because why all of a sudden, because you changed 1 are 3 broken? And I noticed something. So Toyota of Tampa Bay has been doing this thing where they'll send you a video of the technician explaining what the thing is. And I got a video for the second visit and the third visit, but not the first one. And I'm like, this is weird. And so I tell him no. And I'm like, whatever. And I call another place, the place that I took my car to the freaking first time, that they were like, oh no, your sensors are fine, you don't need to. They change it for $150 a pop. Had I just gone there the first time, I could have spent $600 and been done. But now I'm out $600 with a problem that's not fixed. And had I known I had to change all 4, maybe I would have waited. Maybe it would have gone to the other one. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so he gives me he's walking me to my car. He's giving me my keys and he's like, hey, if you want, these are the details of the sensors you have to buy them on Amazon and I'll change them. We'll change them for you here at Toyota for like $300. No, and I'm just like, this is ghetto. This is that part. I don't want to pay anything else. And so I come home and I'm telling Obi, and he's like, do you want me to go with you? And I'm like, yeah, I kind of feel like they're ripping me off because I'm a girl. Yeah. You know, and it's like, this is crazy. How did I spend $600 on 1 and you want to change 3 for $940? Yeah, I get you gave me a discount, but the discount, the total was almost $1,200. Yeah. So is the labor the same for all of them? Don't charge me labor this time because you were supposed to change all 4 of them. You know what I mean? And so I really got ripped off, and I'm just like, this is my fault because, one, I didn't really press it because he was like, did you ask questions? Like, did you press them a little bit? Like, did you mention that you had already come and all this stuff? And I was like, no, I just kind of shut down because I'm over it.
Yeah. And
I don't want to give y'all another penny.
Because, like, they can really play with you because a lot of us don't know about cars.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you're telling me this, and if you were my dealership, like, you want the best thing, so it's like you tend to believe them.
And that's kind of how I felt. Like, you're the expert. You're telling me all 3 have broken in the 2 weeks since the first one was good. And I'm like, okay. I mean, I can't really argue with it being broken. Had you told me, like, oh, we actually fixed the wrong one or something, that'd be different. But I almost feel like he knew that he fucked up, because why would you offer me this like little under the table, you buy the parts on Amazon and we'll fix it for you?
Yeah.
That's weird to me too.
It's just,
I don't know.
It's just,
I'm tired.
They're suspicious.
Very suspicious. What are the odds that I would fix one and the other 3 would break immediately?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's wild. They should be offering that part for free. They're telling on themselves for how they can change the prices and do whatever.
And you told me a manager was going to get involved. I didn't see a manager. I was just dealing with you. What I need to do is call your manager at this point.
Yeah.
Because, like, if I just go somewhere else, then I'm losing the upper hand I have and the fact that I bought something from them.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think they should do it all for free, but $940 is crazy.
That is crazy for, like, I mean, I don't know how much tire pressure sensors are, but that just feels like
a lot.
I, like, changed all my tires almost for that.
Yeah.
So I guess, I mean, I don't know. But
yeah, I got scammed, y'all. Stay tuned. I'll figure out what I want to do. The sensor turns on and off as it wills.
Did you try that reset I sent?
No, because they reset it. They apparently each time I went, they did the reset.
Okay.
I mean, the sensors are definitely broken. I believe it. My car is kind of old. I bought it it's a 2018, I think. Or 2016.
I think you told me 2016. But
yeah, it's a 2016. So that makes sense that they would be broken. Just like, why didn't I don't know. The odds of all of this happening and playing out the way it does sucks, because I'm out $600 and the problem is still here.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a whole day. Really, 2 days pass and it starts acting up again.
Yeah.
So did y'all know all 4 were broken or not? Like, oh, let's tell her one is broken and fix it. Then she'll have to come back for the other ones. And then the tire pressure bullshit was like, you didn't even look into it.
Yeah.
My second visit, you were wasting my time.
I wouldn't be surprised if
that's what I should say.
If all were broken, but they only noticed one and the other 3 were almost broken and they just didn't notice, and they didn't look into it that much.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because my second visit, they definitely didn't look into anything. They just filled up my tires and they're like, oh, the sensor's off now.
Yeah.
And that was it. But anyway.
That's so annoying.
Oh,
there's nothing worse than car troubles.
No, it really sucks. I need to like be in a relationship with a mechanic. I'm like, that's three things, y'all. These are my golden rules. If your partner can fix computers, cars, or knows how to cook, it makes your life easier. Thankfully, my man fixes computers, but I'm not having a computer problem right now. I'm having a car problem.
I need a car.
He did say he would go with me, so maybe we'll call and complain together. I don't know.
Look, that would be good to bring him as backup. It's good to have backup.
No, I told him you go and do it. I'll stay home. Take my car.
Honestly,
I'll give you my card. I'll give you all the. I'll have all the papers.
Ideal to me. You do this.
Can you go for me?
Step up, please.
Anyway.
But that sucks. I'm sorry, Maggie, that I scammed you out of $600. But
$600.
You're holding firm with the other things. You learned your lesson.
I did. And it's like, you need to speak up even if you're annoyed. If you feel like it's not fair, you need to say something for yourself. And in that moment, I was sitting there shaking my head, but I was just like, I mean, I could at least just say like, hey, it's
hard
crazy.
Because if they make you feel like you need to have it, and if you aren't that familiar with cars, you don't always have troubles. It's hard to say.
No, but even as I was sitting there, I was just like, it's crazy though that I paid to fix one, and then all of them break immediately.
Mm-hmm. It's us. They should have done it.
And I was thinking that in the moment. I just didn't say anything. I was just like, I'll go somewhere else. I'm not giving you. Y'all may never see me again. After I fix this, if I fix it, that'll be the last thing I ever do there.
I will not be buying from you again.
Mark my words.
You'll rue this day.
You'll rue it. Toyota of Tampa Bay. Anyways.
On that note,
that's it, y'all.
That's it for today's episode, y'all. Stay safe out there with these scams.
Keep me in your prayers.
Watch out for traits.
Stand on business.
Stand on business.
If your gut is telling you something, say it.
Car dealerships are full of traitors.
Go to a local mechanic, a nice local mechanic.
A nice local. But with that being said, thank y'all so much for listening.
Thanks.
Make sure to rate and review us. Give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Write us a review on Apple Podcasts. We love those. And then if you want to see our beautiful faces instead of just listening to us, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel at the Shade It All Podcast. And also TikTok's still alive, so we're posting at the Shade of It All Podcast. And we're also posting on Instagram more consistently at the Shade of It All Pod. And yeah, we'll talk to you all next week. Bye.
Bye.